Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Going X and O. I have here with me a lovely guest that just won or went 5-0 and first place at the recent Rocky Top Open. Justin, go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of give us a rundown about how you got into Legion, how long you've been playing, what factions you play.
Yep. My name's Justin. I primarily play Separatists, and I got into Legion. I just watched a video by Play on Tabletop of a Legion battle. It looked really cool, so I bought it. I think that was around like 2021,
Hmm.
and then I didn't really start actually playing with anybody else other than my dad until around late 2023,
Okay,
and that's how I got into
awesome.
Legion.
Yeah, and then so is this your first big GT win? I know you got second place at Cherokee Open, I think earlier this year when you lost had a close game with Kentucky Dan at Cherokee. So, is this your first big win?
Yeah, this is my first big one.
Awesome, cool. All right, well, let's just dive right into this list. We've been talking. I've had a lot of Gar on the list, so it'll be really nice to talk about droids. I'm not a droid player, so I may be asking you lots of questions, which I'm sure you can answer. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Yep. And I'm going to run through the list just for the audio listeners. So the list starts off with Kalani with improvised orders. We have Count Dooku with saber throw, force push, fear. And we have three naked B1s, Geonosian warriors with the super squad Geonosians, Black Suns with a scattergun and a Vigo, two naked Droidicas, a crab droid with an engagement protocols, heavy laser cannon, and two aqua droids with the heavy extra guy. So, kind of just take us through this list. What are you thinking about when you're trying to build it? Obviously, Dooku's a beast in himself. The Geonosian Warriors Super Squad, I'm very interested in that. So, kind of just take us through your process when you're kind of building this list.
So yeah, this list is all about the turn 1 and 2, just smack them hard and quickly. And so you've got the two Aqua Droids because Aqua Droids are really good. And you have two
Yep.
Droidicas because I
Mhm.
think you have to have two. Um, and then really the Crab Droid and the Super Squad. The Crab Droid gives the Super Squad Scout 1, which means
Mhm.
they reach about like 2 inches into your deployment zone, which is very hard to avoid and still actively play the game.
Yeah.
And so you typically can always get that, and it tends to be worth it most times to even do it even if your opponent can shoot them after they've gone. And you're going with them last typically. And then Dooku
Mhm.
turn 2 always gets to use both of his weapons. I play the 1 pip. I play the standing orders turn 1 always,
Mhm.
and I play his 1 pip turn 2 always. And he just double moves onto the point, onto the middle point, wherever it may be, and he throws out his saber throw and his lightning either into one thing or to two different things, depending on the situation.
Disgusting.
Yeah, because
That's
that saber
gross.
throw and lightning is impact 2, but it gets to 3 via weak points most times,
Okay.
and pierce 3 and surge to crit, which is the
Man.
the big thing.
Yeah. You were talking about the Super Squad Geonosians. You know, it kind of feels like, they kind of go in on the first turn. They have that scout, then they have speed 3 move, and then they get a free. No, that's with a command card. Um, but it feels like if your opponents are shooting at them, that kind of benefits you because everything else is just kind of following up behind it. So it really kind of forces your opponent to adjust with that first. And then, oh, here's a black sun with a scatter gun right behind him or something like that. Is that kind of how you're playing them, or do they kind of become like a sacrificial lamb after the first turn when they do what they want?
So yeah, the first turn they scout 1, they do speed 2 move, and they jump for
Hmm.
free and do another speed 2 move.
Yeah.
And then they shoot. And then turn 2, since you're playing the Dooku 1 pip immediately,
Hmm.
you direct and give them an order, and then they go immediately again. So they last first, kind of. And then they
Gotcha.
can kind of just sit there, and the opponent can shoot shots into them. It typically takes quite a bit of effort to put them down finally.
Mm.
And the Black Suns are really just there to do a lot of damage to something, and not
Hmm.
take any damage because Aquas are hiding them.
Yeah.
So they're just another thing that can throw a bunch of damage. It's not really a scapegoat for them because the Aquas are hiding them anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Okay, well, we kind of mentioned it already, but I'll go ahead and we'll show these command cards now. So we have you disappoint me, double the fall, fear, surprise, intimidation, preservation protocols, do not underestimate my means, they too will suffer, and standing orders. So you kind of already talked about your turn one, turn two kind of tech where you do standing orders and surprise, fear, and intimidation. Is there any other like what are your turn three? I mean, they're probably game dependent, but like what are you thinking about turn three and four? Um, did you always play standing orders right into fear, surprise, intimidation? Like every match? Is that just the go to move?
Every match. I don't think there's any situation where I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Turn three, turn four. It's a bit dependent, but you
Yeah.
disappoint me typically is a turn three to pass out dodges,
Okay.
and then from there it could either double the fall or they too will suffer in any order. It really depends because Dooku could be dead by turn four, and then
Yeah.
that changes things on what you're playing.
Okay. Interesting. I was looking at all your opponents you played. It looks like you kind of got a flavor of everybody. You got a mirror match to start off, and then you played Rebels on the top table. I think a couple Gar and then an Empire. Was there a specific like archetype or meta list that you're trying to build to counter specifically, or was it just like I like Dooku. I'm just gonna build. I like Dooku and Black Suns, and that's what I'm gonna put on the table. Was there anything else when you're kind of putting this together?
I tend to find some piece I really like that I think is really good, and I build around it so that it can handle everything. So
Okay.
I don't really counter anything. I just play to counter everything.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That you know what? Hey, you're the one that went 5-0 here, so I'm not going to question your means and everything. Okay, so let's go down to these deployment cards. So let's see your standard conditions. I mean, cutting deployment, advanced intel ordnance. Let's see, close the pocket, intercept and bunker assault. Not bad for droids. Very clonish of you. And then we have destroy enemy base, surface scan, and mark targets. So I will ask you, what was your automatic veto uh, primary mission, and then what was one that made you super giddy when your opponent flipped it? Like, what one are you wanting to play every single turn, and then what was one that you just auto banned every time you saw it?
I would auto ban shifting positions.
Yep, makes
Uh,
sense.
and if I would be very happy if they pulled close the pocket.
Yeah, I guess just kind of send it everything to the middle, and then with your Aqua droids and then your Black Suns right behind it, just kind of here you go. And then your Super Squad 2 is really hard to kill. Um, any specific secondaries that you really didn't want to see that would be hard for you?
I particularly don't like recon mission,
Hmm.
just because it makes me do things that I don't want to do. It just forces me to make decisions that I don't want to make, and every other secondary seems to be fine. Bring them to heal is also bad, but that's just bad if you're facing a good bring them to heal list, which any bring them to heal taker would have.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Especially with some suppression and stuff like that. Well, I mean, I know with this list you did go 5-0, but I mean, are there any changes to this list that you'd like to make? Or is there anything that maybe didn't, live up to your expectations when you first played it? Or
I just change fear to impact grenades with this specific list. I don't think I'd
hmm
make any other changes. I'm experimenting with a few other things, but it changes the list, decently enough to where it's not the same list.
yeah.
So with this specific list, I just probably move fear to impact grenades.
Okay. How did the naked B1s do for you? Is it just like they're just kind of there to hold down a point while everything else goes forward, or
So they're there to either put one suppression on something, which if you're splitting on Dooku, he passes out 3 suppression on turn
hmm
2 with his saber
hmm
throw, so you can panic something that's courage 4 by throwing a suppression on it. And they're there just to be something that's hard to kill with something random. You have to actually devote some effort to killing them.
hmm
And so they double move onto your home point typically. So like on close the pocket, they would take the your side point.
Okay, interesting. That's nice. And of course, the Droidicas are just there for either really speedy, just gonna be like, "Oh, you thought I was here and I'm over there." Um, The crab droid with engagement protocols. I think that's pretty interesting. Again, I'm not a droid player, but I'm a huge fan of the snail with defensive protocols, giving it outmaneuver and nimble. Really kind of be able to soak up a lot of wounds that you want your opponent shooting at. But engagement protocols, what was kind of that process? What was that thought process on that?
So the crab's already pretty expensive as it is, and it's
Hmm.
it's not it's not easy to kill. So I'd be pretty happy if they were devoting shots into my crab droid rather than my aquas, because then my aquas are shooting at full capacity. And so I typically throw dodges on the aquas and not on the crab. And the crab really doesn't. And if the crab goes to somewhere where AI can affect it, uh, I kind of need aims to put into armor. So engagement. Well, I guess I wouldn't be able to do that with engagement protocols, but more of moving. Defensive protocols would force you to dodge, and you wouldn't be able to double move or anything. It's not a big thing,
Gotcha.
but it puts more points on the crab droid that I really don't have to spare, and I think the crab droid's fine without it.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. And plus, having that scouting party is really big too. Um, and then, correct me if I'm wrong. Kalani has that three pip that you can divulge to give reinforcements. Is that right?
Yes, I
Okay.
divulge that every single time.
Yep.
Reinforcements goes on the aquas and the crab droid every single time,
Yeah. Okay.
regardless.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, and you clearly have really good order control with this list because you're a Jordan player. So, like, what's your typical, like, what units are you looking to put out first? And then what, and you said you're holding back the Geonosians for kind of a last first, but are you putting out the Aqua Drawers to kind of set up your wall first? Or are you looking to put out something else?
So the aqua droids typically want to come on later so they have something to shoot.
Hmm.
Uh, so you end up what happens is the B1s all typically go first, is what you do. You
Hmm.
try. So Kalani's actually in the stack with this list. Turn one order control goes standing orders on an Aqua, direct AI to another Aqua, and then Count Dooku directs himself. And so my other stuff is in the stack. So improv is enough to pretty much guarantee that the big squad of Geos goes last. It's like a
Yep.
1 in 12 games that they don't get to go last.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, the B1s come out first, and then the Droidicas and Crabs come out, depending on what the stack says. And then eventually, depending on the game, I'll make a decision of whether my Black Suns are going to, risk getting shot, or an Aqua's going to come out earlier than I'd want it to
Mm.
keep them safe. And then from
Okay.
there, it would be Aqua, and then like Dooku, and then the big squad of Geonosians.
Nice. Okay. That's awesome. And we kind of been talking about it on and off, but like, and you mentioned that you like to go with the Geo Notions last, and then you like to go with it first because you play Dooku's one pip and you have cunning. So, what other kind of favorite tech tricks or strategies do you like to employ with this list? Like, I know Dooku's two pip gives him a lot of playability when contesting POIs because he has force push, and then he can use his other his two pip to move someone speed one. So, what other kind of strategies are you thinking, or just little things that maybe someone wouldn't think of immediately when they see this list?
So yeah, his speed three, his three pip gives a speed two move to something after you shoot with a range attack.
Hmm.
Um, so really, this list creates a lot of opportunities for you to do, playmaking things like that. If I had to say, something generic, it is really just the two pip where he can do both saber throw and lightning. And
Yeah.
this list is just it's really efficient. It's really good at what it does. Uh, the tech and strategies behind it are not they're not so much something it's something that you got to come up with during the game, dependent
Mm.
on what you're playing, because if you're playing close the pocket, Dooku's the main strategy is instead of rushing in with droidicas to on the point, you can suppress things because Dooku can split and throw 7 suppression in just one turn
Jeez.
and force push something. So he can double move, throw something off the point, and then panic two things potentially with a little help. And so that's the close the pocket thing. And with Intel, you can there's panicking,
Hmm.
there's force push,
Hmm.
there's also on his three pip he can stand by and move something off if your opponent lets that happen. And there's a lot of small things that people can forget about and that you can take advantage of thanks to Dooku.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, he is a beast. All of his command cards are really good. His card got a massive update with that direct one is huge. Either giving it to himself or starting to chain. Of course, cunning is the bane of my existence. I hate that keyword so much because it gets me every time. But well, that's awesome. I really like this list. It's very unique. It's not an EXD list, which I think is really nice. But again, Count Dooku is so powerful in himself that I think really anything that you kind of throw with him really kind of makes it good just because he's so good. It's nice to see Geonosian Warriors there too because I know they're kind of hanging in the balance. Um, so let's go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Let's go ahead and just kind of talk about your overall tournament experience. What was your overall takeaway from the tournament? Was there's 60 players? You kind of played one of every faction except Shadow Collective, of course. So half faction. But what was what kind of were your overall assumptions going in, and then are there any game changing metas coming out of this tournament that you think we need to be aware of or anything?
I don't think there was much assumptions I had made. I pretty much knew what I was getting into.
Hmm.
Uh, and I think if there's one thing I took away from the tournament is that Bright Tree is pretty good. Uh, yeah, that list is very scary. Um, and the only reason I won is because Dooku created the opportunity for me to the opportunity for the opponent to make mistakes
Hmm.
that I could take advantage of, and that's the reason why I won that game is because of a few mistakes that he made.
Yeah, I just now pulled it up that Ewok list that you faced on the top table. That is a lot of activations that you had to chew to. Oh, and Chewbacca and a ATST. Forgive. You know, man, that's that's pretty crazy. But it looked like you got the right mission that you wanted to play and everything. So, and obviously it worked out for you. So that's good. Okay, let's see. Yeah. So a lot of big news coming out of Legion, customizable commanders, obviously. What are you looking forward to most in Legion coming up or in the next coming years? I know you're mainly a droid player. So n- Grievous on a wheel bike, what are you looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to the customizable commanders, or like the customizable super tech, and wheel bikes, obviously.
Yeah.
Those are gonna be really fun, but and
Yeah.
really cool. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, the customizable commander is really what I'm looking forward to because I like list building a lot. So
Hmm.
hopefully those things are good enough that they don't fall into one thing, and that you can create quite a few different things from them.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like the miniature itself is going to be very customizable. I'm hoping that the rules that go along with that are going to be just as customizable and kind of fit into any type of army that you are building. If you need a support guy, if you need a heavy melee attack guy, if you need a range guy. So we'll see. And I think I have a feeling they will be because I think AMG has done a really good job here recently of kind of really spinning the game on its head and really kind of giving us what everything that we want. So yeah, that's awesome. Grievous on a wheel bike, that model looks so cool. It looks amazing, you know. And and then you have the Magnas on the wheel bike too, and the BXs. So very curious to see what kind of unit cars those guys are going to have and kind of wounds and stuff. So Um, yeah, well, hey, guys, kind of short and sweet episode here. Getting right to the point here with Justin. Thank you for coming out and make sure you check out our latest episode of the X1 Legion cast. Justin, is there any shout outs you want to give or anything you want to plug? The floor is yours, my friend.
Uh, well, I'll just give a shout out to all my opponents. We finished all our games, basically on time, uh,
Awesome.
and they were all they were all they did not cause any issues. That's for sure. So they were all good
That's
players.
good. That's good. What's your next big tournament that you're looking for? Anything? Are you you qualified for the LVOIS? So you're going to try to make it down this year?
Probably not.
Mm,
Probably the next tournament's just going to be Cherokee next year. Probably not going to do any more big
yeah,
tournaments for the rest of the year.
yeah, I get it. That's awesome, man. Well, again, thank you for teaching a guy that doesn't play droids how to play droids. I loved your list. And guys, just remember X and O is just a game away. Thanks.